So we're back to the charger. We got to get this thing to a good stopping point. Get this wrapped up to where we can leave it for a little bit, because you know, my work trip next month is sneaking up pretty quick, and I've got to get on the Chevrolet dually. So before I do that, I need to get this to a point where I'm okay letting it lay for a while. And I have a list here, roughly everything we need to do to get there. So a lot of that's going to be, you know, core support fix, inner fender fix, everything off firewall, sanded down, finish welding the torsion support. This right here, do something about that. I just seen that the other day. Get them little brackets on for the fenders there and there. Wire wheel, sand everything, get it in primer. And if we get that far, try to figure out what orange paint to use on the engine bay. That's toughy. Nobody seems to agree on what to use on a General Lee. I've heard everything from 75 Corvette Flame Red to Hemi Orange to AMC Big Bad Orange to just freaking orange. So we'll have to figure that out. Alright, in there. Pretty satisfied with how both sides has turned out. So I think torsion support is good, other than, you know, obviously I need to clean up inside of it and treat it with something. Might just leave that for a while, because it's going to be a minute before we put floors in it, so we'll have this opportunity to do that for some time. I guess now let's move up to the front of the car and see what we can do about fixing on that inner fender. Okay, you take a wire wheel to something, you can really tell how bad it actually is. Like all this right here, we're gonna have to fix that too in the frame rail. I didn't realize that before. And like, I pretty much cut this section loose with the wire wheel. That's how thin it was. You can see it's just gone. And you got pinholes all throughout. And this flange bit right here that bolts for the fender come through this way and help bolt the fender on. That's rotted out down there all around the bottom of this corner of the torsion support. And all this right here is it from the inside. You see just how bad it is. All this, and even down into here, it's just terrible. That's awful. Yeah, we're gonna have to do something about that. Unfortunately, I believe all the parts I have for that are just as bad. I mean, we can go up there and look at what I got and see, but I mean, this right here, I can patch like I did that. That's not a big deal on the frame rail, but all this, I mean, we could cut us out a piece of sheet metal and put in there, and oh, I'm ripping the metal by hand. That's how bad it is. That's how thin and soft. Ugh. Let's go check the parts pile. So on the original front clip, that idea shot. See, it's rotted out in the same place. Maybe not as bad, but still. Leading bit here, that's still seems like it might be fairly solid and would actually clean up with the wire brush. So that's an option. And maybe the top of the frame rail here, maybe. Get that crap out of the way. This vacuum canister out of the way. That's an option. Come over here to this charger. All that stuff's gone for the exception that I do have this piece. Wait, which way does this go? Yeah, that's right. I used a metal snipper. Yeah. That flange is gone. Passenger side. If that were the driver's side, that'd be a potential option. That's all passenger side. Let's go look at the Cornet. See what it has to offer. Yeah, same problem. Same problem, and over here, same problem in that corner. Maybe even a little worse. See that? Yeah, no good. All right, back to the drawing board. Beautiful day out. Too hot. Nice cloud coverage. Upper grill brace. Defender bolt. Keep that grill assembly, and the front valence is still holding that on. So, but it is out of the way for the most part. All that's twisted up pretty good. I think what we need here, probably cut it off without too much fuss and bother. Appears as though it might be fairly salvageable, actually. Vacuum cleaner. See if any of our sockets will go on there. Oh, how fortuitous. See, this looks like junk, and it is. But sometimes it pays to hang on to this stuff. At least for a while. Keep that one bracket's one bracket's good, so we'll keep that. Scrap the rest. Alright, let's go get the sawzall. Chop that thing off. I think we need a new blade. Or I can just use my brain and, you know, cut off the wheel. Alright, new cut, new fresh battery. success. Out of there. Alright, so we've come up with a game plan. I cut this out of the 69 Charger front clip, and obviously, yeah, B-body to B-body sits in there perfect. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, Jacob, that don't look much different than what's in there. And while I see where you're coming from, the bits that are solid on this piece but not solid on the other where it counts, like down here where it meets the frame rail, and this flange over here from the core support where the fender bolts up like we was talking about, all that's solid. Okay, now while this bit's still rusted out, just like on here, it's a whole lot easier to stick this up on the workbench and fix this while it's separate from the car like this than it is to try to mess with everything else and that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut up here across this bend straight across, okay, and then we're gonna cut in this crease right in that corner all the way down, and then we'll probably come down here and cut this same way in that crease all the way across, so it's in such a way as to where it's flat. And then obviously, you know, we'll have this up on the workbench and we'll fix this with some sheet metal and weld that in there. And then we'll come out here, we'll set it in there as it goes, like that, after I've cut it and everything. And we'll trace it out, take it back out, and cut everything out of this so as it matches. And we'll set this back in there, like so, and weld it in. Got me? Alright, cool. So here's our piece that we cut out of the old Charger front end. As you can tell, we gotta get all this out, patch in something, you know, with no holes. You see I cut it up here along that crease like I was telling you about, and did the same over here where that flange is gonna go that bolts fender on, and we cut it across the bottom, drilled out all the spot welds where it was welded to the piece of old frame rail, got that off, and we trimmed up over here as well. See the remnants of that on the floor. So let's get on this, and then I'll bring you back in and show you what we got. Sorry about the jump forward in time here. We got that thing patched together good enough. It's ugly. Good thing we're painting it, and there'll be a battery tray there hiding it. But it's ugly, but it's in there. We just have it tacked in place for right now. Fit over here and at the bottom's pretty okay. Over here kinda pretty good gap. That kind of sucks, but we'll fix it. It's 2 o'clock. I'm gonna take lunch. I ain't ate nothing all day, so we'll get back to you here in a minute. Alright, didn't get as much done as I wanted to today, but it happens. You know, run into contingencies, things take longer than you thought they were going to. You know how it goes. But we did get the inner fender patched up. It's ugly, it does not look good at all, but it's in there. We also fixed this, but there it is. Like I said, it's ugly, but it's in there. It's better than a big rusted out hole. It doesn't fit exactly, it doesn't have the exact contour right here that the factory did to mount the battery tray. But when we get to the point of putting a battery tray in it, we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. There's still a few more things to do. Like, I came over here with a wire wheel. Surprise, surprise. More pinholes, more rust. So we're gonna have to do something about that. Gotta fix that, and we still got to get these on. Did not get around to that today. Still gotta get these on. And got to patch another little section right here. Honestly, would it have been quicker to just put all new AMD stuff on it? Yes, it would. It would have been quicker and easier, but this is still a whole lot cheaper. But you know, hey, what's your time worth? You know, to me, I got more time than money, so that's the route we're going. Anyway, that's what we got for today. We'll come back to it tomorrow or the next day or whenever we got time. To be honest with you, I'm getting pretty burnt out on this car. We jumped into it hot and heavy, and we were banging out a lot of progress, getting a lot done, and now we're getting into the little nitpicky this and that, small patch this, patch that, scab this, scab that, and I'm getting burnt out. I'm getting worn out on this thing. But we got to tough it out. We got to tough it out, and we got to finish this front clip. We got to get them patches done. We got to get it in primer and paint in the engine bay, the outer of the inner fenders, like underneath where that outer fender would be. We got to get all that undercoated and semi-permanently, temporarily get the fenders and a hood bolted on so we can protect all that work we did, and then we can just let it be for a while. We'll be hopping to something else for a bit, probably the dually, maybe the 71 Charger, fiddle around with it, might be something else around here. So we'll get back with you tomorrow, get back on this thing, hurry up and bang it out. I'll show y'all something about how good God is, and something he's been showing me a lot lately. He works in mysterious ways, as we all know, but lately he's really been having me appreciate bugs, because I used to hate bugs, but now bugs are cool. Look at that little booger, that little woolly spiky boy. Look at him. See that? He's got like some orange and some black. He's like a little, what's them things, them sparkly ropey boys that you put on your Christmas tree? He looks like one of those that's just wiggling along. Like, I don't even see no legs or nothing. But we ain't gonna touch him because we don't know what he does. Well, we're gonna let him do his thing. See you, bud. See you, buddy. Go on now. Get on out of here. Let me show you something. Yes, you can buy stuff new, everything out of the catalog, online, whatever. But if you're building cars and building them on the cheap, there will always be a need for parts cars. The wagon always keeps providing. This right here is just one of them little annoying things that if you had to order it, it would just piss you off. It's one of them little nut things. It goes right there on the firewall that holds the plate for the steering column. So we'll weld that on. Okay, so we've got these little doodads welded on. Again, ugly. It's on there, solid. Same on the other side. The fit over here was a little janky. Had to make a relief cut in it to get it to stretch because the metal was pushed in on the cowl from the wreck. So we just sort of had to work it in how we could. Nut cert thingies here to hold the steering column in. Those are all welded in place as well. Factory, they're just kind of crimped in there, but you can tell how this is bent, and the whole general area is kind of bent from the wreck, so the holes are a little boogered up, so we just welded them on. I started getting a little wild with the wire wheel, cleaning up the firewall. I think with all the wind and how cool it is today, it's kind of down in the 50s, low 60s. The next opportunity I'll have to get out here will be later this evening, so probably not gonna get any paint or primer on this today. But we'll try to get out here later this evening and start working towards fixing up the rest of the welding we need done, like patching this and this. I'll bring you back for that. I can't believe I looked over this. It's a little technique I learned in welding school some years back. When you got like little pinholes and such like this here, an easy way of filling them in is you take a dissimilar metal that you can't weld with your MIG machine, stick whatever you're using, like aluminum, brass, what have you, back your holes with it, like how we have this piece of aluminum angle iron clamped on to back our holes here. And then just go ahead and go hog wild with your MIG welder. Fill in them holes. And then when you're done, see how the aluminum didn't stick? Fell right off. See how our holes are filled in? And then you come back with your grinder and just smooth it up. And there you go, wham bam, your holes is filled in. So we're gonna wash, rinse, repeat on the rest of these pinholes over here and over here, and we'll bring you back in when we're done. Alright, so my little technique worked out for us. All this over here come out pretty nice. This over here, yeah, well that's a screw hole, so don't worry about that. But it got, I filled it in, ground it down. It's still pretty thin, blew through with the grinder, so went back over it, and I'm a little scared to grind it down anymore. So holes are filled in. It's ugly, but it's gonna get painted over, so we're just gonna leave it. And everything on the back side, see that? Yeah, that's ugly too, but that's gonna be on the inner fender. You're not gonna see it, and it'll be covered up by undercoating anyway. So we're just gonna leave it. All right, barring any other horrors we may find going forward, welding up here is done. You see we got that patched, and like I showed you earlier, we got this done. Inner fender's fixed. We got this braced up. We got these corner brackets welded on for the fenders on both sides. So now I think we're good to remove the heater box, the wiper motor, the plate for the master cylinder, get the firewall cleaned off is what I'm saying, and get to cleaning all the sheet metal up, stripping it down so we can prime it. We got the old fender tag and these little bracket doodads ground off too. There we go. Ain't that just the way? I looked at the camera and it cut off. And I don't think I got probably the last 20 minutes of what I was doing. So just in case, I'll fill you in. There was a piece right in here that held to the bottom of the heater box. Took it off. And there was a vent Johnny right here that went up to the middle of the dash. We got that off. And we discovered there's more of the harness cut. That's fantastic there and over here. So, you know, that's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. But, I digress. There's another bracket. You can see it right there. There's another bracket holding this thing on to the cowl up there. And that looks like a 7/16. Probably is. So we have to go get something to get that off. It's probably going to end up being a 1/4 inch ratchet with a socket. Yeah, that's probably what it's going to be. And we'll get that off. And that should be about it holding this thing on. At least I hope. Because I'm about sick of fiddling with this. I want it out of here and to be done. So let's go find the tools and get this out. Here we go. I'm probably going to regret doing this without safety glasses, but here it comes. Oh. Vacuum lines, bunch of freaking vacuum lines going up to the heater controls and some kind of thing here for something. This thing's heavy, y'all, and I'm kind of squished up in here stuck. Alright, how much do I trust this 50-some-year-old wire hold this thing here so I can get out? I guess we'll find out, huh? Woo! Well, good thing I got my noggin out the way. That would have sucked. Well, heater box is out. This useless crap. That's right, if it don't make it go, we don't need it, right? Yeah. That was a little sketchy, I don't mind telling you. Then, chuck that in the back. Ooh. About got my noggin crushed. Alright, let's find this. Where's that nut at? It's not there. Always put your hardware back where it went. You don't lose it. Okay. Now, we can get to everything. Ooh! A whole lot more better now. Y'all hear that duck? Get all this old insulation out of here. Ew. Gross. Alright, now how do we get that off of there? That looks like a 1/2 or 9/16. Nut up there. See that? That's back side of the wiper motor. We've got to get something to get that off. And then we'll just go ahead and throw that on out there somewhere. Don't need that. Yeah, we'll just more vacuum lines. Just maybe not pull on that. We don't want to pull the whole car down on us. That'd probably be smart. Yeah, let's get that nut off there for the wiper motor, and then we'll have that off. And then after that, 2 nuts over there for the brake pedal bracket that's holding that plate on the outside. We'll get them off. All right, heater box is out, wiper motor's out, throttle pedal cable bracket's out, and that plate is off as well. Bring you out here and show you. Yep, all cleared off. Plate's gone, heater box gone, wiper motor gone, throttle cable bracket's gone. So it's all cleared off, ready for us to come out here tomorrow and wire wheel it, sand it, whatever. So there you go. We'll come back to you tomorrow. Well, I kind of got smart. Somebody mentioned, why don't you sandblast it? So I went in there and dug out my daddy's old gravity feed sand blaster. And I've never really used this thing much because I always figured it wasn't no count. If you got good sand in it and it's good and dry and kept inside, it does okay. And you can tell, but it's actually done pretty good. What spots we've hit with it, it's actually doing pretty fair. Now it's going through sand like it's going out of style, and I am getting sand everywhere, and I mean everywhere. It's all in my hair. It is in my nose, my eyes. I was wearing a welding jacket and a welding hat and safety goggles and everything, but obviously that ain't enough because it's all in my shirt, it's in my britches, it's everywhere. Ain't no point in getting cleaned up till we're done. So we're gonna go into the hardware store and get some more sand and come back and finish this up. And look at the mess we're making. That sand is everywhere. Whatever. we're getting it done. All right, I think sandblasting was a nice idea, but given the equipment and the media we have is not conducive to doing this very well. We'll get it going good and then it'll clog, and we'll get it going good and then it'll clog. So I'm done messing with it. I got all the nooks and crannies and little corners as good as I could with it, but I'm gonna finish it up with a wire wheel on the grinder, both electric and pneumatic, and get the rest of this paint and rust off. It sucks, but it is what it is. Got to work with what we got. Can't afford to go out and buy a sandblaster or take this and have it sandblasted, so that's what we got. We got a green Scotch-Brite SOS pad. Might be 3M, I don't know. I know it's used for kitchen stuff. It ain't like a granulated, graded body work SOS pad. I got some in there, but they're like 80 grit, and I think that might be a little too abrasive. So these come out like a pack for a kitchen. Sure looks like kitchen stuff. So that's what we're gonna use to prep this with. DA probably be a bit too much. And we don't really want to take our primer off. So we're gonna prep our surfaces. Yeah, I was saying, I think this is more work than they ever put into any of the real General Lees. Not just in terms of the whole car, but like paint prep. I mean, I know they never painted the engine bays like I'm doing here, but I don't think they even prepped the surfaces of the cars, like the exterior when they painted them. I think they just, I don't know if they even scratched it. I think they may have washed them. Maybe. But other than that, I don't think they did anything. I think they just brought them in and mixed up some orange paint and just blasted them. Because they didn't have to last that long. Maybe the close-up cars, maybe somebody can tell me. Maybe the close-up cars, like the Hero cars, they may have done a little bit more with them in terms of like paint prep and painting them right, maybe. I don't really know. Oh, Harbor Freight microfibers. We're practically giving these things away like all the time. Go in there and buy you something and get you some free microfibers. Oh. Compressed air must have done pretty good, because I ain't getting a whole lot on this thing. Yeah, this is doing good. This is going a whole lot quicker than the sanding. Hopefully this thing comes out pretty good. Just getting all hung up on them welds. We'll just call that good. I never said I was an expert videographer. As a matter of fact, I think I mentioned at one point that I'm far from it. Pretty good. Oh yeah. And of course, when we're done doing this, we'll blast it off with air one more time, and we'll go around with a fine-tooth comb, picking off all the little linties and dust bunnies that got hung up on the sharp edges and everything. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. At least that's what I think. Of course, what I think ain't got nothing to do with the price of beans in Georgia, now does it? Scrubby pad and the towel and all that. All of it we can find, anyway. Keeping in mind this is an engine bay. It is not, not that detrimental of a operation here. Alrighty. I think we're about ready for some paint. Of course, this thing will probably look banging tonight, and then tomorrow I'll come out here and it'll look like trash, but yeah, it's just the way she goes sometimes. Way of the road, bud, way of the road. Let's go get our paint. maybe hang a leak. Alright. It is done. The paint is done. The engine bay is now Hemi orange. And I am happy with it. It looks a little brighter on camera, a little more dull in person, but that's kind of what I wanted. That's almost exactly what I wanted. That tells me right there, 100% the rest of the car is going to be Hemi orange. That is perfect. Now I've still got to clear coat it. We got some time to play with before we have to clear coat it. So I'm gonna run up to the house and fry me up a couple hamburger patties for supper real quick, and we'll come back down here and clear it. But boy, that orange looks good. That looks fan-freaking-tastic. That dark spot you see back there in that corner, that's just a shadow. That looks awesome. It's cleared and it's done. Mission accomplished. I don't know how many days later, but it's done. So there you go. I don't know if you can tell it, but I messed up clear a little bit. Got a little heavy-handed with it and running a little bit, but you know, it is what it is. It's orange now, so it's an engine bay. That's all we were looking for, was orange. So that's what we got. Alright, I reckon that'll about do it. We're going to take a little break from this for a while. I'm going to get the hood hinges done and put on, and the fenders semi-bolted on in the hood. Keep this protected. I don't know if y'all see this in this video or not, see that in this video, but we'll definitely probably make a short or two of that just to let y'all know what's going on. But I appreciate y'all. Comment, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Everything helps. We'll see ya.